Alright, so basically what you're looking at is a Yerf Dog 3203 go-kart. My dad bought this thing brand new in the late 90s, and we've had it ever since. As you can see, it's been heavily modified. If you've seen one of these before, they're pretty common. This thing's got like fenders and stuff like that on it, a bunch of lighting and whatnot, although half of it's missing. And it also has a Predator 420cc single cylinder on the back there, which all this was done within the past 10 years that we've had it, so obviously it is pretty far from original. But basically what I'm going to be doing today is getting this thing running again. It has not run since I think 2019, 2020, pretty much right before I started this YouTube channel it was running, and then it was put away ever since. So it's got a lot of dust on it. It has been sitting in this same exact spot for 4 years. So it'll be interesting to get this thing back out in the sunlight. And yeah, so let's get some stuff cleared off of it and get this thing out. Oh, there's a huge mouse dust up here. Look at that. Big old clump of just whatever that is. There should be some headlights on this, at least there were at some point. I don't know whatever happened to them though. They just kind of disappeared. But there used to be some on it. It's an electric start, 420 and everything, had a battery and all that good stuff. So that stuff could be somewhere in here, I'm not sure though. I looked for it before and I could not find it, any of it at all. So I really have no idea what happened to all that stuff. Maybe we'll find it, I don't know. My fender got bent on this old roof rack I made for the XJ a long time ago. I should just get rid of this thing, I don't even have the XJ anymore. And here it is, out in the sun for the first time in 4 years. This thing is truly a spectacle to look at. The closer you look, the more atrocities you find. One of the biggest ones being this right here. Yeah. A copper pipe that was smashed in a vise and had a hole drilled in it. So yeah, that's how that's made for a battery connector. Just bird nest of wiring on this thing, broken dash, key switches on the floor. I don't remember what happened. I don't know why that thing broke, but it did. And yeah, so the only thing that's semi-half decent are the fenders on it. You know, they're a bit loose, but they actually do serve a purpose. This thing used to really throw rocks up here, and you'd get hit in the face with it. So these fenders actually do a great job at blocking that stuff. So those are going to stay on, but everything else is coming off of it. And the reason why it was parked for 4 years is because the jack shaft is pretty jacked up. So yeah, we're going to have to get something new on it. Probably just some pillow block bearings drilled into the extended engine plate right here, and that should be more than enough for this thing. However, this jack shaft was on the original 6.5 horsepower Tecumseh that was originally on this thing from day one, and safe to say it's not rated for 15 horsepower. The engine is a Predator 420cc Hemi engine, I don't even think you can get these Hemi ones anymore. Instead, they just have the 459 now, which is a better engine, but still kind of unique to have an engine that you can't even get anymore. So, yeah, rated for 13 out of the box, and it's probably making about 15 with the bigger jet and drilled out muffler on it. That is literally not even a muffler. It's completely hollowed out pretty much just from this thing backfiring all the time. It's a flamethrower. You'll see it. But yeah, so anyways, we're gonna get this thing up to the garage and really start taking a more in-depth look at it. So let's get it up there. Got the gas line disconnected. Surprisingly, nothing's in that. Probably because it evaporated out entirely. Air filters off. 2 chipmunks over there. 2 10mm bolts right here. And then we should be able to slide this carburetor right off. And then we can get it in the ultrasonic and get this thing cleaned up. It should fire right up. Now I do remember that key switch does not work. So we will not have a kill switch. So we just got to pull the plug off of it. Or the boot. Surprisingly, that came right off. I thought it would have been stuck. Very easy to dismantle this thing. Just like that. Carb is dismantled, and in the USC, put the lid on, and away it goes. So, this thing should fire up no problem when that's done. Never had an issue with it starting at all, so I'm going to find the spark plug, which is right here. Put that back in. It's in pretty good shape. Not really worried about it. It's a little bit carboned up, so I might take the wire brush to it, but it should be fine. Found the spark plug for this thing. Gave it a quick pull. Don't know if you can see it, but it has very strong spark, so that should be good to go. There we go. We have a nice clean carburetor on this thing, fully reassembled. I'm gonna throw some regular 87 in it. I'm not gonna waste my ethanol-free 90 on this thing. Just gonna be getting rid of it anyway. So throw some in there, and hopefully this thing should fire right up. All right, let's see what happens. Need to choke it, maybe. Doesn't help that I have like no pulling on this this pull cord. Full choke. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. It never really gave me too much trouble. For 4 years, that's not bad at all. He does not work at all. Oh, I guess it does now. Okay, well, that's one less thing I have to mess around with. Nice. Alright, well, it runs pretty decent. As you can hear, it's quite a screamer. So now we just need to get some pillow block bearings for this jack shaft, probably a whole new jack shaft too, because I'm sure that shaft itself is all worn out and has a groove in it from running on the edge of that thing for so long. So we can just drill some holes in the plate, get that thing rolling, and this thing will be good to go pretty much. So alright, let's get that stuff done and we'll send this thing on its way. So I got the jack shaft out. I was going to try to save the shaft itself, but it's marred up pretty bad. The threads are completely gone on one side, and yeah, it's just terrible. So yeah, that's what's left of a bearing right there. You can see the race inside there. Yeah, non-existent, and that's obviously why it was all just everywhere. So yeah, definitely time for a new one. I have a whole kit on the way from Amazon. I think it's somewhat halfway decent and has good reviews, so it's good enough for me. And plus, we're selling this thing anyway, so it's not like I'm gonna go with any premium quality thing like I usually do with my stuff. So yeah, anyways, that's on the way, and I figured for shits and giggles I would hook up some of the old lighting on this thing, and surprisingly some of it still actually works. I am absolutely shocked. I thought it would have been all chewed up by mice and stuff like that. This one up here has seen better days, but yeah, some of it still actually works. And I did find a picture of the whole thing when it was first completed, and there's that right now. As you can see, this thing was quite the contraption. It was mainly just kind of a wiring practice kind of thing that I did, and I was bored, so I did the whole thing in a matter of like 2 days, I think. Like literally everything, switch panel, all that stuff was done in like 2 days. And yeah, so these ones up here, whatever wire that fed those is gone. I don't know what happened to it, but I did test them individually and they all work. So I'm gonna save the ones that do fully work and I'll keep them for a future project. I do want to do a camper project someday, so maybe those will still be around. Oh, look at that. Some of them are coming back to life. How about that? This thing might just fix itself. Yeah, no. It's kind of sad to see what this thing has become in its dilapidated state. I was very sentimentally attached to this thing. Still kind of am, but it's time to move on to better things. Any go-kart that I would really, really like to ride nowadays would be fully custom built by me, welded and everything. And yeah, I thought about reinforcing this thing quite a bit and extending the frame because I'm a little bit too tall for this thing, and that's another reason why I stopped driving it all the time. So yeah, that's kind of the three big things that have brought this thing to where it is now. Anyways, we're gonna wait for that jack shaft to get here. I'm gonna start pulling these lights off, get the wiring cut off and stuff like that, and get them in the spare lighting bin. I took the rest of what was left of the old jack shaft off, and I got the new jack shaft kind of mocked up here. This is just a kit I found on Amazon. Comes with 2 pillow blocks and a big long 14-inch jack shaft, and as well as a few sprockets. I was gonna put this bigger one on it, but I figure this is probably going to be driven by a younger kid, and I don't think it needs to go 60 miles an hour. So I think I'm just gonna leave the original sprocket on there. It already goes like 40 miles an hour with that one, so I can only imagine the sheer speed that would come from that thing. So we're gonna just leave it the way it was. Plus there's like just barely enough chain for this sprocket. If I was to try and put that one on there, then I would need to get extra chain, which I don't feel like doing. So we're gonna just roll with what we got. So I'm gonna get this thing aligned and mark the holes, drill them, bolt them in, get the washers that I need to put on there between that sprocket and the secondary clutch, and this thing will be pretty much good to go. Forgot to hit record, but there you go. Just like that. It's that simple. I'd like to note how quiet it is compared to the old one. And I did end up throwing that big sprocket in there. I couldn't help myself. So I ended up figuring out how to make it work with the chain. So that's gonna be good. So this thing is probably extremely fast now. Definitely lost some torque, but well, it's fine. All right, I've entered the death trap. Now we're gonna take this thing out back, give it a quick test drive. Oh my God, this thing rides so bad. It's probably why I have all my back problems. Need to clear out some trees real quick. Forgot how much the front fenders rub. It's hilarious. Love it. There's that good old turn radius of this thing. Brakes work good. Alright, I'm gonna have to whip it around because turn radius is terrible. Well, it runs and drives. I guess that means I should probably clean it up a little bit, make it look a little more presentable, right? Well, here we go. There you go. It's kind of cleaner. Not really. It's a lot of baked on stuff that has been on there for many years. Long before that engine was even on it. So, yeah, this thing's been through a lot, but, well, it's time to move on.